Peace, peace. Welcome back to the space beyond infinity where there are no limitations. I am the spirit guide of this realm mystic, and I'm back with part two of my story time that I have titled Joining the Love Game. This is a story time about the time that I joined a cult. This is the part two. Going over what actually happened in my experience of being in the cult. Let me just go over a few things real quick. I was only in the cult for maybe a month and a half. And that's part of the reason why I never went online and spoke about it, but also there's once people leave, they talk about you online and blah 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 blah. And the loyal person that I am, I just never fully spoke my story. Also, I did not experience anything that, well, my experience was not as traumatic as others. So part of me felt like I did not have space to speak on my experience. But my experience was still my experience, and I still experienced trauma. And I just feel like last night I gave myself the green light because I'm just like, everyone else has expressed their experience. Everyone except for me. Everyone except for me. And I can't be the person that I feel like I am and not express my experience. Also, I have every right to acknowledge my experience. Like, I have every right to acknowledge my experience, and I shouldn't take that away from myself. And I shouldn't downplay or diminish my experience simply because others had it worse. And simply because I wasn't there that long. I never wanted to do it for clout, and this is why I put it on my YouTube, only because I don't think that a lot of people know that a lot of people that I know that I'm, connected with through this group, I don't think that a lot of them know that I be doing my vlogs on YouTube. So this is why I'm putting my story on YouTube first. I have considered doing a TikTok series because y'all know what? Why the fuck not? Profit off my own pain. But anyway, at 333. Anywho, I think that would be good. But like I said, I never wanted to get clout. A lot of people would leave and then they would do interviews and blah blah. Y'all can look it up. There will be a lot of interviews that y'all can see on a lot of different people who decided to leave, and they all did interviews, including the father of my children. Like, I'm the only person that I feel like I've ever seen go there and leave and did not tell their story at all. I was listening to see if I heard my baby on. And why not? Like, I have a right. Also, one last thing. If you didn't watch the previous video, go back and watch it because it tells the story of how I actually ended up in the cult. And it also tells you that I'm in the middle of working on my crown. I'm just wearing it right now just to exchange my energy. But anyway. Okay, y'all. So, sometime during or after COVID, What? Because Raji Rain was born in 2021. So 2021 or so. Wow, this timeline is jiggy. Anywho, yeah. So 2021, I have my 1 year old son, and I was pregnant with my daughter. About I could say maybe I was about 5 months or so, 6 months or so. Um, when I received the call from Nature Boy telling me that, the father of my children was present, and he was like, my husband at the time, he was like, he's here with us, and I think that y'all family should be together, so you should just come home. And so I did. I went and I joined, and I said that my reasons for joining at that point, after already knowing them and seeing their um, transition and transformation online, um, I had already previously decided not to join, but I joined because Boomy was there. I wanted to be with Boomy. I wanted to, kind of protect Boomy. I'm protective of the people that I love. So I'm like, in that environment, I don't really know what goes on for real. So I just wanted to be close to him, which is funny because I was not close to him at all while I was there. But anyway, yeah. And also, I had found out that, our friends, Shaka and Azine, had joined and they were there too. So I'm like, I got to be there with them. We have to have this experience together. Yeah, Shaka and Azine had joined previously when we first went to Mexico, and then they left. And then they joined again around the same time that Boomy did. Maybe a couple weeks before, or I don't really know who got there first, but they were there when I got there. Um, so they booked me a flight to come out to Vegas, and I flew out there to Vegas, and they had two members, 2 or 3 members, come and pick me and my son up from the airport. Actually, I believe it was Solar who picked us up. Um, Solar and Tron, maybe. Definitely Solar, but I forgot who was the other person. When I got there, I was greeted by Shaka. Uh, he took my bags. He was like, "We have to go through your bags to see if there's any contraband, um, anything that didn't kind of align with the lifestyle or whatever." Um, we didn't wear deodorant, um, so deodorant was taken out. That's an example. I mean, I didn't have any deodorant because I don't wear deodorant. I haven't for years now, but and for those who are wondering, at this stage, stage and phase in my life, I have a spray bottle full of lime water that I take. Well, not lime water, it's lime juice, and I take that and I spray it up under my arms, and I'm good for the entire day. But I've been using lavender oil, just lavender oil up under my arms for years. But yeah, just for the ones who's wondering. I don't be running around here smelling stank unless I just forget because I'm a mom. I ran out the door to hurry up to go catch the deadline time for picking up money or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so he checked my bag for contraband, see if there was anything that, didn't align with the message that needed to go or whatever. Um, I was all good. Nothing, any weapons, just checking the bags. Uh, I had not eaten because I just, with the time of everything, depending on others, I just didn't have a chance to make it to get some food once I got to the airport. And so I was hungry, and I remember sitting there for a while, and they was just waiting on permission. to give me food. And I was just like, okay. And I feel like at some point, Shaka came back and gave me a banana. And I ate the banana. And I was just waiting. I feel like maybe for like an hour or something because Nature Boy and Velvet wasn't home. So I was waiting for them to come back from wherever they was at before, they can give the go ahead. So once they came back, I guess it was pretty much in alignment with what time that they eat. And, upon Velvet hearing that I haven't eaten the entire day, she had, and I'm breastfeeding and pregnant, right? So she was like, they ordered food. They ordered Chinese food and they invited me and I feel like somebody else up to the room. There's another honor. We call her Honor. I'm gonna call her Honor. She came in. I feel like maybe the same day as me, and they invited us both upstairs to their quarters, and we ate Chinese food. And this was my first time like knowing like okay, they actually eat meat now. Like they're transitioning over to eat meat sometimes. Um, So they just was talking to me and was like, we were just going over again how we all were introduced to each other online and, how I ended up there and, just addressing a couple things of maybe things that, I might have said online or was posted or whatever and just testing my loyalty, testing, my temperature, checking my temperature pretty much. Trying to see what type of time I'm on. Um, by the time we were done eating, I was introduced to the space of where I would be sleeping. There was a room for couples. In this house, there was 3 rooms. There was Nature Boy's room. There was the room for couples, and then there was the room for single women, and then the single men stayed downstairs. And I was in the room for couples, of course, because I was there with the father of my children. And I remained there for like a week or two until me and him were separated. Now, coming into there, uh, I was introduced to that. Um, I don't really remember what happened the night of me being there, but I remember for sure, the next day of the women having their meeting. It's like we had a meeting. The women had a meeting and the men had their meeting in the rising. And in the women's meeting, we just kind of went over the flow of they were just informing me pretty much of how everything worked. Um, we were changing up the list of who's doing what chores, um, A team, B team, who was in what group and category and rank and whatever, blah, blah, blah. We were going over that. Okay, cool. We went over that. And so after that, that's when everybody got into, doing their chores. I was assigned to clean the bathroom. The bathroom was cleaned 3 times a day, 2 or 3 times a day. I think it was 2 at the time. Somebody cleaned it in the rising, and then somebody cleaned it like midday or at night or something. I was scheduled to clean it in the rising, so I went to go clean the bathroom, and so typically how our days went was we would wake up at 9 a.m. Everybody woke up at 9 a.m. Everybody cleaned up their pallet, cleaned up the rooms, and then moved forward to their chores. My chore was the bathroom. I would go to the bathroom. I would clean the bathroom. Well, we had a schedule out of, bathroom schedule of everybody gets up and then they brush their teeth, wash their face, do whatever they need to do to get ready for the day, and then everybody would start their chores. So, after everybody was done using the bathroom, then I would start my chores, cleaning the bathroom. The rooms would get clean. Whoever's cooking would go downstairs and start cooking the meal for the day. Um, if if there's any like if you're gonna eat, you need to eat before they start to prep the meal for the day, which was crazy to me because I don't see how there was no structure of, okay, if people is gonna have breakfast, like we needed like a scheduled breakfast, which I really feel like it wasn't encouraged for people to have breakfast because I would get up, um, and I kind of got into this space to where like I asked a couple times about going downstairs and making oatmeal for me and my son, and I would have maybe a banana with it and maybe a piece of toast. And I asked a couple times, and then I started to just get into a routine to where I wasn't asking anymore, and then it was like made an issue because I wasn't asking the higher ups, the higher rankings, the people who was over the kitchen, can I go downstairs and make my breakfast or whatever. And they were trying to make it seem like I was being greedy. There was all kind of like weird ass energy, like as far as like, man, because if you're not respecting the person who's a higher ranking than you, they don't feel respected, then like it's an issue because they have been through whatever they've been through to get their title to be whatever. And man, it just like, I got into a routine where I would wake up every day, and then I kind of got checked on it. And they like, yeah, you should be coming and asking. So I started waking up every day, and I would go and wake whoever up or go straight to their face and ask them for exactly what it is that I wanted to make and have in the kitchen. And they would say yes, and I would go down and I would make it, and I would clean, and I would come back up and I would eat with my baby, and then I would clean that up, and then I would start my chores. And that is how my days went. And after my chores, my days were supposed to be consistent on studying all of the knowledge, because though I was a follower before the majority of the people who were currently there, I I was a part of the crowd who were there in the beginning. I wasn't a part of the crowd who came once he started creating his curriculum of the 5 sciences. So I didn't have the 5 sciences down packed. I just knew it all by experience. So he's like, you have to study. You and a certain group, like the new members, they have to study. So for us new members, he actually created a test to test us. And he's like, since I'm testing y'all, I have to test everybody. And finding out that, some of the other members didn't even know the questions that we were being asked or the answers to the questions that we were being asked. He's like, everybody's going to get tested. So he's like, a couple of members have to come up with the test. He assigned Aaron and someone else to come up with the questions for the test. And he tested everybody. And it was like, if you fail, you have to leave. And so that's everybody studying. Everybody's hardcore studying. We did have kind of breaks because we were going to the beach, and we went to the skating rink a few times, and we went out to eat. I can only actually remember going out to eat once. I remember only going out to eat once, going skating, and going to the beach. And we went to the beach more frequently while I was there than anything. Yeah. We actually went to like a little water. It wasn't a beach per se. The first thing we went like for a hike to this water. Like, I don't know how to explain the water. I don't know how to, but it was a body of water. And we all were baptized by Christ. and I allowed myself to be baptized by Christ, and everybody was baptized by Christ. And we took a few photos. You can go and look on the profiles. There's pictures of us and videos of certain people being baptized. Um, I actually skipped over. I skipped over a few important factors, right? Maybe my first or my second night being there. Um, I was laying down with Bumi, and he was like expressing some concerns. He's like, I don't know if this is really the right environment for you to be in, because we had just had this experience in the Fourth of July, um, where, and this is like July when I came. Um, so he's expressing something that just happened a few days prior, where on their outing, Nature Boy had abused Velvet in public. He abused her. Um, Everybody gathered in a circle to shield and protect the situation while he beat her up. And he was expressing this to me. Bumi was telling me that this is what happened. He's like, I don't know if this is really, the right space for us. And I am, as I expressed previously, I'm a water sign. I have a lot of water in my chart. And I was there for the experience. So I feel like at that point, I was already kind of reflecting my environment, and I was in my adjustment phase of coming from, being at my family's house. That's where I was. I was at my uncle's house before I got there, and then transitioning into this new environment. And I think I was just in the middle of my transition, and I was just like not taking in the depths of what he was expressing. And I'm just like, it'll be cool. Like, let's just ride it out a little bit. I need to go through my adjustment phase. So initially, Boomy was expressing his concerns. In my time being there, Boomy was a part of the go out team. So Boomy was gone the majority of the day. Gone the majority of the day. I did not see Boomy most of the time until it was time to eat. Either it was time to eat, I would see him when it was time to eat, and then he would leave again, and then I would not see him again until I had already started falling asleep at night. Pretty much. Um, so we would wake up, we would do our chores, we would do studying, and then after that, we would have a meeting, and we will all come together as a group and sit in the living room, and Nature will talk to us for at least an hour or two, and sometimes three. And then we would get up and we would proceed with whatever activity we were doing before he sat us down to have this meeting. Now, the meeting would usually start off with us talking about what we might want to do for that day, or what we might want to do for that day, and then it would go into addressing any concerns or any situations that may have happened, anything anybody was feeling, whatever, anything he was feeling, and then him pretty much going into a tangent about whatever is on his mind or on his heart at the time. And then we would go on after that and eat, and then whatever was next, more studying, or if we were on an activity that day, go out for activity. Um, you know, I can't tell you exactly, but there were times in there where we were supposed to be teaching the kids. We would have, certain people were assigned to teaching the kids, whatever, and that consisted of us pretty much just putting on a playlist of videos that taught astrology, planets, um, letters, numbers, just stuff that fit the criteria of what we were doing, you know. Yeah. But yeah, we would be going majority of the day. Um, I did not see him until it was time to eat, and after that, I wouldn't see him again until it was I was literally had been laying down for a while, then started dozing off, and here he came finally showed up. So we didn't even have time, a lot of time together. But somehow, in the time that we were together, we were kind of clashing because I was noticing that he wasn't treating me properly. Okay? He was treating me bad. And it wasn't that he was treating me bad, but it was just like, there was more static than usual. It was different than what I was used to. And so I'm like making an issue. Like, you don't have to talk to me a certain way. Like, and then there's like, oh, you're raising your voice at me. Oh, you talking back to me. Well, not even you're talking back to me, but like, you're being difficult. Like, I was being difficult, and I was making it difficult. It's like heavy emphasis, like, on you're being difficult. And he used to tell me, like, while we were there, he would tell me, like, nobody else in here would even want you. All the guys have expressed that they wouldn't want you or want to deal with you because you're crazy. Because they feel like you're crazy. They feel like you're crazy because the way you express yourself, because you're so like yeah, I was having problems with my volume control, which I always do. But sometimes I would come off a little louder than I would try to or whatever. But even when I'm upset, like, I have outbursts like, bro, chill out. Like, no, because you're not about to talk to me in kind of way. Because, first of all, y'all, I come from the hood, okay? I come from a family of women who are, um, tend to be more abusive to the men. But I was never like that. Like, I'm not going to treat a man with disrespect, but I'm not going to allow myself to be disrespected, you know? Um, So when I felt like I was, when I feel like I'm disrespected, like, I'm gonna speak up on it. When I felt like I was being disrespected, I would speak up. Like, no, you're not gonna just talk to me any kind of way. No, you're not gonna just handle me any kind of way. Like, no, I'm not going for that. And you're not about to just make me go for that. And I just really felt like both of us were being affected by our environment. And that's why I gave a lot of grace and forgiveness, like, on his behalf, because I could tell, like, we're taking on our environments. Like, we both have Pisces moon. We was taking on a lot of everybody else's emotional space. So I was just giving a lot of grace, but at the same time, I'm like standing like, bro, you're not about to just treat me any kind of way. And it kind of got to the point to where, you know, um, I don't know what happened, but we were being punished. Oh, because, like, we were studying for the test, and he kind of gave us like a little pop quiz, and I was getting answers wrong, or I was getting answers wrong, and so I feel like as a result of that, we were punished of separating. I don't know. It was just kind of like, I don't feel like it was that. I was put in isolation because I was getting answers wrong. I failed the test and I was put in isolation. That's what happened. But Boomy and I were already separated at that point. We were already separated. It was already kind of like little here's and there's of noticing, our disagreements, and, it being like put out there like maybe y'all should, separate. Like y'all should take y'all time apart. Like you should just y'all should separate. And I feel like I went for that because I was like, I could use my space. Because if every time we come into contact, there's an argument and we're being stressed out, like I'll take my space. I will always take my space. I'm like, there's things that we did not work on. Once we separated, before we got here, we were already separated and we didn't work on those things. We just got here and those things are popping up in a mix of us being here and the way that, we're addressing and handling things while we're here. It just like whatever. So, because I was feeling really like, bro, like, I don't know, the way he was talking to me and handling me, it wasn't what I was used to, and it wasn't what I was going for, period. So our, because I feel like this happened before. I feel like this happened before I got put into isolation, because I feel like while we were in isolation, yes. So one day I told y'all that I would get up and I had to start asking permission to go downstairs and make breakfast. And there was like one chick in particular, they was like trying to put her out one day. We had a meeting and they was like trying to act like, well, she thought that she might be pregnant, and they was just trying to put her on blast, like you're not pregnant, or you're just making stuff up, or whatever, and you're starting to eat more and you eat too much and blah 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 blah. And them getting on her about eating too much made me feel that much more uncomfortable about how much I was eating. And you guys, while I'm pregnant, I am intolerant to rice and bread and beans. Beans make me throw up, and rice and bread makes my poom irritated. Whatever reason, they make my poom irritated. So I was expressing to them like, yo, I can't, because we were eating like a lot of Chipotle. We was eating a lot of Chipotle, and we was getting, rice, beans, chicken, whatever. And I was telling them like, yo, because they was like doing double rice so that everybody can get filled. And it was like, it's kind of free if you do double rice or whatever, or it don't cost so much. So they was doing double rice for everybody. And I was like, but you're allowed to put in your order, but you're going to get whatever, they make the final decision, whatever. So my order was like, just regular rice and no beans. And I started making that a thing because we was eating rice and beans a lot. And I started telling them like, I can't eat rice and beans. So they started making me potatoes. They started more often I would eat potatoes. And what they would do for me would just be boil some potatoes. Boil the potatoes. That's it. And here you go. You got some boiled potatoes. Season them up a little bit. That's your meal. And that would be my meal for the day. And y'all, I would sometimes ask like, can I have some avocado? I don't know. I have to ask chief, blah, blah, blah. It's not really for everybody. It's just specific. Okay. I feel like at some point it was a thing for like the pregnant women to get, because it was me and there was another woman, Soka, who was pregnant. We both were pregnant at the same time. And she was like maybe a couple weeks. She was a couple weeks, maybe a half a month ahead of me. And, there was a thing of like, it was supposed to be like pregnant women get to have eggs. But then it changed to the people who was contributing a certain amount of money to the collective got to have specific grocery items that they can request. And This really tripped me out because, from my understanding, at the time, my husband was getting money every week, contributing it to the house. So I couldn't understand why I couldn't get an avocado or a scoop of mayonnaise, like, or some eggs. Like, that's all I wanted. An avocado to go with the potatoes I was eating. Just, not just potatoes every week. I started realizing, like, after a while, I started realizing, like, I'm not getting what I need. I'm not getting no type of fats. I'm like, it's just one or two bananas and potatoes a lot of the time. Unless it was like we're going out partying. Now, mind y'all, I told y'all, let me remind y'all, I was only there for a month and a half, so, but in the days that we weren't partying and having Chipotle, I was eating potatoes. Like, they made vegan lasagnas and they would put lentils in it, and there was like one particular time where they made one that didn't have lentils in it for me, specifically for me, and I ate that. But like, I started to realize the majority of the time that I was just eating potatoes, just potatoes, and maybe a couple bananas. And we started like trying to like talk like, oh, we need more, we need something. As we went to isolation, we needed more. But anyway, um, let me get back on track with my experience with bullying, right? I just noticed that I was being handled a way that I wasn't trying to be handled, and I kept telling him. I remember it was 1 week. Every single day of that week, I told him, you can just talk to me. You don't have to yell at me. We don't have to argue. It don't have to be nothing. Like, we can just talk about whatever. We can just talk about it. Like, you could just talk to me. You don't have to argue me down. We don't have to argue. It don't have to be a fight. It don't have to be nothing. Like, we could just talk. And then one night, I had to go over the food situation for this, because one night I woke up and now I woke up when I was hungry. I was hungry, and I remember sitting in a room, and I was just in this space real bad where I didn't want to ask for food, because they made me so uncomfortable about the subject. I didn't want to ask. So I was just sitting there, and I was so hungry, and I was waiting for him to get back, and he got back, and um, he had we had went out earlier that day. I feel like we went to the beach, and then we came back and we had Chipotle, and I ate my Chipotle, and then Boomy never ate his. And then he had came, so he left, and then he came back, and then he ate his Chipotle, and in the middle of him eating his Chipotle, the guys were downstairs, and they were making oatmeal. The ladies were not allowed to go downstairs at this point in time. Like, it was certain points in times where there was segregation. The women were upstairs and the men were downstairs, and we were not allowed to go downstairs. We had to ask permission to go downstairs if we needed something specific from downstairs, like water or whatever. But even still, like, water could be brought to us, or our child, or whatever. And I remember I had already ate earlier that day. I ate my Chipotle or whatever, and it was getting, so we ate our Chipotle around like 5, 6 o'clock, and now here it is about 9 o'clock, and I'm hungry, and I don't want to ask anybody for any food or anything, because they made me feel so uncomfortable about asking for food. And I remember Boomy had just got back, and he had just finished his Chipotle, and the guys were downstairs and they were making oats. And like I was texting him and I was telling him like I was hungry, and he was like, "You should talk to the women." And I was like, "They make me feel uncomfortable." And he's like, "You just gotta suck it up and talk to them." And I'm just like, so I remember after his oath was done, he came upstairs and he sat with me and Zakari, and he started sharing with Zakari because Zakari wanted some. It's like, y'all wanted some. And then he was like, "You want some too?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so he let me have a couple spoonfuls. I had ate some. We were sharing. And I'm thinking, he's going to share the whole thing with me. And he's like, "I wasn't trying to share the whole thing with you. I was just trying to give you some." And then I'm just like, "Okay, like, have your stuff. Let me back up. Let me." Because me now, I'm going to go in my shell because I'm already feeling a way uncomfortable about asking for food, and then I can't come to my husband and ask him for food, and you don't want to share your food, and you being mean to me, and like you didn't even want to share with me, let alone share with our son. And I just felt like, my feelings is hurt, so just like quiet, whatever. I'm holding on to that, and I'm also holding on to something he had said to me. I don't remember. He said something else to me earlier that day. We had already kind of had a thing, you know. But once that was over, you know, went downstairs, took his dish, cleaned his dish, finished wrapping up, whatever, whatever. He came back upstairs, and he's like, trying to engage in conversation with me. And it's like, "What's up? What's wrong with you? Whatever, whatever." And I'm like, not really giving him the energy. I'm just like, "It's okay. I'm cool. Whatever." And he's like, "No, like, you're not being warm to me. You're not, whatever, whatever." And I'm just like, "It's okay. Whatever." And I'm just like, "We just go to sleep or whatever." So we're laying down, and he's not happy with the way I'm responding to him. So it's like, "Forget you." And he pushes me in the back of my head. Pushed me in the back of my head. And I kind of headbutted my son a little bit. And I'm like, "Well." And it was like a push in the back of the head. And then after I like, "What?" And he rolled me over and he grabbed me by my neck. He didn't squeeze. He didn't put any tension. He just put his hand there. Didn't squeeze. Didn't put any tension. Just put his hand around my neck. And he was like talking to me. I can't even really remember what he was saying. He was trying to get me to talk to him. And I didn't want to talk because I'm like, "You hurt my feelings, so I don't want to talk." And it don't matter what I say because I realize that lately everything that I say to you, you don't want to hear it. It always ends up being you're the victim and I'm hurting you. So it's not no, I'm just feeling defeated. Like there's no point for me to try to express what I feel because at the end of the day, you're gonna make it into I'm wrong and you're right. And I don't want to fight. I just want to go to sleep. I don't want to argue. I just want to go to sleep. But now, like, you're getting physical with me. And this is the first time he ever, first time and only time he had ever put his hands on me. So I'm in utter shock. I'm in utter shock. I've never had anyone put their hands on me. I'm downstairs, son. I've never had anyone. Well, I used to have this boyfriend who used to choke me in high school. I've had that, but I don't know. It was different because this is the father of my children. I'm pregnant. I'm in an environment full of people that I don't really know, don't really trust. You're the only person that I trust, and here you are getting physical with me. Come here, I'm right here. And hold on, my son.